Okay, so in this video I'll be demonstrating the use of the new input-output package as part of the Java 7. So this wasn't in Java 6. This package essentially has two focal classes associated to it. So one is the path class. So what we'll do here is essentially create an object instance of the file or the directory within your Java program. Once you've done that, we then use the file class to modify, delete, create any files or directories that we've highlighted within the path instance. I'm sure that will become much clearer in the next couple of minutes. There are two other ones. The one's called paths and the other one's called files. So both plural. These are final classes that only contain static methods that you can use as part of manipulating or creating the data files or retrieving the information that way. So the first thing to do is create a path instance. So if we say this is source, what we'll do now is use the final class of paths, and here there's only one method, the paths.get. So here the URI is essentially the directory of which we want to take action on. So if you see within my package here, I already have a directory. So if I call this dir1, and then let's do file 3, as that's a missing incremental number. So you can see I've already imported in the path and paths. If I remove that, show that in a bit. So you can see obviously there's two different classes that need to be taken into account. Once we've created the path instance, we can then start using the files class to then take action on the object instance. So with here we can create the directory, we can create the file. I don't know, we can scroll down. Create the directory, create the file, create a symbolic link, delete a file, retrieve the existing attributes associated to it. There's a lot of methods within this class. Obviously I'm not going to go through all of them, but what I will do is create a file. So here, if I just put in the source, don't need any attributes. So what I'm doing here is creating the object instance and then using the files to create the file. So if I run that and then do a refresh, it creates a file there. So far so good. The next thing to show is essentially deleting that file. So creating one is one way. If I do files.delete, put the path, let's just run this one out. If we run that and have another refresh, you can see the file's been deleted. That's, a simple process. We can, that's the combination of using the path and the files. If I do a sysout of the source, you can see there's many methods that are associated to the instance as well. So if we wanted to absolute path, for instance, let's put absolute path. Let's pick another one as well. What else do we got that might be of use? It's a file. Just quickly show that one. Let's get rid of the parenthesis there, and then we'll just show one more. Get file name. So obviously there's 30, 40 perhaps different methods. But if I run this, get file name, let me create that first. So the absolute path is from the root onwards. You can see the actual to file is a lot shorter. It's only residing what's showing within my directory that I'm running the file, running the Java file in. And then obviously get name is the name of the file that I'm actually creating. Okay, so the next thing to show is copying the files. So if we wanted to create, here we can see that we have the source. Let's say we want to move this . Okay, so the next thing to do is to okay, so the next thing that we want to show is the copying from the files from one directory to another. So we have here a path instance of source. What we can do now is create another path instance. Let's call it target. And then use the final class. Let's say we want to put this new directory, copy it from file 1 to file 2, keeping the same name. Could do a little mark there. So the next thing to do here is files.copy. If we put this one down here, what we can do here is three arguments that three sections that we put in. The first is the source. So next one is the target, which we already have. And then the option are additional flags when copying it over to ensure that it is successful. So one example that we can do is standard copy option. So within here we have essentially three that are most commonly used. One is the atomic move to ensure that the file gets sent over completely. The copy attributes, if we're copying the actual attributes associated to the file, we can transfer those over as well. And then also, if the file already exists, we can simply replace the existing file. So this would be a good example here. If I run this, need to create a directory. Don't have a directory created. Create directory source target and get rid of the attributes. Let's give that a go. Alright, so if I do a refresh on this side, that the file gets created. And you can also see that the file has also been transferred. You can see, because we added in this argument, actually if I just keep running that, it's not going to be a problem, well, apart from the fact that I already created one. But if we remove here, you can see that this is constantly successful every time we run it. If we had this option absent and then run it, because the file already exists, we will get a file already exists exception error, which is obviously handled within the I/O exceptions. So that's one thing to take into account when copying over the files. The other thing would be to do a move. So let's say move from the source to the target, and then standard copy option, and then replace existing. So what we're doing here is attempting to move the file 3 to the file 2 directory, but overriding this. Actually, if we remove this one, just to show that it actually gets moved rather than give this a run, and then do a refresh, you can see the file gets moved over. So again, very simplistic on how to use the paths and path classes. Obviously it reduces dramatically the number of lines required to actually do the transfer of the files. But that gives you a simple concepts on how to use the classes, and I hope it was of value. Okay.